Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's video is actually a topic that we discussed in our last class of software training, and one of the students was having that question about deployments and SAF web and Azure, and I think that is a pretty interesting topic, and there are a lot of neat things that we can do in this regard. So as a promise to him, I'm doing this quick sample video just to show a proof of concept so he can see what is achievable. And not only that, how can we make a tool for non-tech savvy people like support or sales, if they need to help us out with a new client, they are able to actually use our tool for this purpose. So let's start just as a quick overview. We have a SAF web application here. It's the SAF web demo app, and I actually did a publish that. If we take a look in our release, here are all our files, and we just zip it up in a file so we can actually put it in iOS and deploy it. So in this case, we're going to create an app service, and we're creating SQL server in Azure, a database, and we are going to actually deploy this application to Azure. So here is a tool that we have used in the past and that we uh, have as a helper tool to this regard. Let's wait for it to load, and let's have a quick look here. Here we have an object that is the Azure account. Here you put the name of your account, you put any description you want, and then you put your app ID, password, and tenant ID. When I'm talking about app ID, and I will add this article in the description, right here we can just log in the CLI of the portal, and we can list our account, and from there we can see our subscription. If we have more than one subscription, we set the subscription that we want to set, and then we can create a service principal with the role that we want and the scope that we want, and that will return us what are we looking for: an app ID, the password, and the tenant ID. With these values, we can actually do stuff on Azure. We will have the permission to create resource groups, to create app services, to create databases. So what we need is to add this information here, and after that we're good to go. If you see, right now we don't have any server, we don't have any app service, we just have a template. So the template is pretty simple. In the template we put any name that we want, like customer from the East Coast or whatever. We gonna put the description that we want, and then we select our Azure account that we just show, what is the pricing tier that we want, and we create what is the region that we want. So if we have customer in Europe, it makes sense to have the data center closest to it. So from there, we say if we want to, if we are deploying for more than one client, we can create different apps. But right now, just create one, and from here it's pretty simple. We just name the app service, and then we add the files. So here is the same publish that I showed you before. We just add it, and that's it. So same thing, we create a server here, we just name it, and from there we can actually even create more databases. We create, if it's a client that it has several locations and every location has a separate database, we can do that. If it's a client that is going to have a separate service, where we create a new server. But the idea here is simple. We already have our our files here, our deployment, and we, if we see don't have app server, we don't have an SQL server, and we just go to our deploy, and any not tech savvy can get this done. Am I right? Just deploy. Here is gonna log in with your credential of your Azure account. Then we will create the SQL server. It will create the database. It will create the app service. It will take the connection string of the recently created database and server, and I will include that connection string in the app service that is being created, and it will upload all the files from the public server, unzip it, put it in the right folder, and we will be good to go with our app already deployed. So this is gonna take a little second because again, it's creating a new resource group, creating a new SQL server, updating firewall, creating database, taking connection string of that recently created database, add it to the app service that is going to be created, create the app service, and then upload all the files, and the deployment will be done. I will let it run. Maybe after the video is done, I edit that part so we don't are not here waiting for a long time. But pretty much any person that we give permission, of course, we need to be careful with this, could onboard a new client. Every time we have a new client, if we of course can do some continuous integration, continuous delivery, and do some some more complicated logic. But I think that for a support person, for a training person, for someone that is not too too technical, this is a nice tool that we can give them, and that it will take a lot of load out of our daily process. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the video and come back to you when this is done. Alright, so the deployment is done. If we go to app service, we see that we have an app service here now, and here is the URL. If we go to the server, we see that we have a SQL server now here with the username and the resource group and everything. If we check our resource groups on our Azure account, we have test deploy template, and here we have the server, we have the app service plan, we have the database, we have everything good to go. And if we go to the application and we click on the link, so here we go. Pretty cool, right? I don't know you guys, but I think that this is pretty neat. I have done a lot of manual deployment, and doing it like this in 3 clicks, I think that is awesome. And just as a quick recap, with that click of deploy action, database was created, server was created, app service was created, the resource group was created, connection string was of the newly created database was put in the new app service, all the files were uploaded by FTP, and voila, here we go for SAF web Azure deployed, ready to go. Well, any comments, let me know, and see you next video.